Okay, today we're going to train bent arm planche through to handstand. Now we're going to play with different positions to make it easier or harder. Obviously, the smaller you make your position or the tighter you make the position, the easier it's going to be. I'm trying to get back to doing much deeper 90-degree handstand push-ups, dead presses. I'm basically using something to allow my body to go below my hands and then go all the way back up to handstand. I can do the ones on the floor, but I want to start to get some deficit position there. I've done it in the past, but a bit out of condition. I'm also using a much wider hand position with this, just to allow my body to get down between. So if we have a look at the position, if the camera sorts itself out, so you can see they are much wider compared to normal. If I'm just doing standard deficit handstand push-ups, I'd probably be there. So there's quite a bit of difference. I'm getting a lot wider, which is going to like bring the elbows into the side, but allow the shoulders to come much further down towards the floor. Now I'm going to make an excuse from the start. I'm very, very sore. I went bouldering a couple of days ago. Body's not used to bouldering and I'm not very good at it, so I overuse the biceps and the arms, which makes me super sore. It's something I want to get better at, but at the moment I'm not, so that might affect us a little bit on how much I can push the bicep from extending forwards. But let's see what happens. I'm just going to do some easier variations. So tuck, push up all the way to handstand. I am limited as normal by the ceiling height, but that feels okay. So again, really important, understanding that seesaw position. So head and shoulders come down, hips come up. So if you're not up to doing the press all the way to handstand, you can just practice these positions, but just go through to a shoulder stand position. So from here up to a shoulder stand, and then with your deficit handstand push-up position, and back again. And you can play with your positions exactly the same as I am. So start on the tuck, frog, straddle, straight. Okay, same again, let's just open out a little bit further, so away from the tuck, so more froggy, so like an in-between a tuck and a straddle. Need to think about that push. Feels a bit weird being this wide, but I definitely need it to get this type of depth. And that's where you're going to start to get the bicep involved in that pulling out and pulling back, pushing out and pushing back, because the bicep and the shoulder are very involved, and you don't really understand that so much until you start to get sore in the biceps after doing planche. Okay, next one I'm going to try and push a little bit deeper on the eccentric. So I'm going to do a more of an open position for the concentric to go up, but then when I go down, I'm going to try and take the head as low to the floor as I can to start to condition that deep bottom position. I'm probably not strong enough to push out of the bottom position yet, but I can definitely start to work some of those eccentrics. So a little bit more of a straighter position. Gonna have to turn the hat round. Now, one thing you might start to notice when you play with these type of positions is when you open out to harder positions or so-called harder positions, you can actually get a little bit more of a whip. So if you've got a slightly stronger technique or experience in the position, having a straighter body sometimes feels easier. Like that last one I done was probably the easiest one I've done today. Now, there could also be because I'm getting warmed up, but it definitely felt like I got more lever arm towards that overbalance, or help towards the overbalance that helped me out, whipping me up. So things don't always make sense or go in a linear direction. It's like having really good balance. You're going to make movements much easier than having terrible balance, even if something's harder on the strength scale, but you can use your balance to your advantage and then find an easier way out. Okay, let's try straight body now. See if I can go up. I'm going to try and stay straighter at the top until I hit the ceiling. Get up. Okay, that felt okay, but I'm really feeling those biceps. Okay, I'm probably peaking in today's session, so what I'm going to try and do now is go as straight, as deep, and as far forward as I can, but still get the concentric back out. This one's going to be hit or miss because you could just push it too far. That's the risk of doing something like this. Okay, and still just working the concentric up, then doing the eccentric. No. Yeah, I was off then. Just rest and try again. Okay, take two. push. Definitely sort of reaching the head down on the eccentric, which isn't ideal. I'd ideally sink all of the body further down, but I got the up. Now, if I wasn't doing a longer video, I would definitely be watching the clips back in between, seeing what I'm actually doing instead of what I think I'm doing, and then adjust accordingly. I'd highly recommend you do that with all your calisthenic skills, your balance skills. Just get really used to videoing yourself, looking at it from a third person, adjusting, like coach the person on the screen, think about what you need to think about in your next rep, instead of looking at the person and going, oh, I'm shit, or I'm not happy with that type of thing. You know, it's really hard to look at yourself in that way. But as soon as you've done enough repetitions of just critiquing yourself, that becomes easier and easier, because in the moment, it's much easier to give yourself that feedback rep to rep than it is watching it afterwards. Because you're obviously you can change for the next rep or the next set. Okay, next I'm just going to try and go as slow as I can. So I'm going to go as deep as I can. I'm probably going to be a little bit more inverted instead of so flat in this one, because it's going to be slightly easier to go slow, but still try and get as deep as I can. So I'll try and get my head to the floor and then push out to my normal deficit handstand push-up position and then push up from there. I don't know if I'm going to have enough gas to get out, but let's see. Yep, just don't know what the eccentric will be like. No, can't do it. That's really knackered me out going up as slow as that. So hopefully you found that one interesting today. Playing with a little bit wider position, going a little bit deeper, opening the elbows out a little more to go deeper and start to condition that bottom position. There's a lot of different ways you can do it. You can do holds at the bottom, eccentrics, concentric only, eccentric and concentric. Play with the different angles, play with the different depths, play with different surfaces, whether you use higher P-bars, lower P-bars, floor, boxes, and everything in between. If you do have any questions, stick them down in the comments. Let me know where you're at with your handstand push-ups. Reach out if you're after coaching, and I'll speak to you in the next one.